we'll go into our top five final girl characters. Now, this is reasonably subjective on how you want to do this. I've kept mine to strictly slasher movies because I feel that's just where this type of character comes from. Um, but it's a top five. I'm not going to be vetoing stuff. Um,
Do you want to, before you
Ash,
go in, do you want to, like, in case someone doesn't know the term final girl, do you want to explain
yeah,
what that is?
final girl, the main protagonist that survives a serial killer trying to take her head off.
Yeah,
Um, we all know it as soon as we say a name, it will start flooding
for
in.
sure.
Ash, I'm gonna give you your number five, please.
Okay, we're gonna go one by one.
Yeah,
Can I do a couple honorable mentions?
Yeah,
go
I've
ahead.
got one honorable mention. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Good
I
job.
have three. Because I didn't just do slashers in mine,
Yeah.
mostly slashers, but I couldn't leave off this person as my number five. But honorable mentions to Laurie Strode, to Tree Gelbman. Is it
Nice.
Gelbman?
Gelbman.
And Mia
Yeah.
from the Evil Dead reboot in 2013.
Oh, great
She went
Nice.
choice.
through hell. Um, yeah,
What
so that's my honorable
what's
mentions.
what's Tree
Oh, sorry,
from?
go ahead. Tree is from Happy Death Day.
Happy
She's
Death
just
Day.
a fun
Teresa.
horror character.
Teresa cannot think of her last name.
Yeah, Teresa. I think it's Gelbman. That's what it
Geldman.
Oh,
says.
Yeah, Geldman.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You're right.
Okay.
But my number five is Ellen Ripley. The Alien is up there for me in my top 10 horror. We already talked about this, but I think as far as like Final Girls, I do think that my slasher movies kind of take the lead there. So she's five. But she's just such a badass character. I'm not leaving her off this list. I just
Oh yeah,
refuse.
Nice. Yeah.
Harry. Number five, please.
My one honorable mention, Chris Washington from Get Out. He's my favorite. He's one of my favorite final girls.
He's a Final Girl. I didn't know we were including the
Hey,
gentleman
it's
in the Final Girls
2023,
list.
Ash. It is 2023. All right, cancel her. Cancel. Um, yeah, Chris Washington definitely. But number five is Sally from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that all is because of the last scene with her screaming on the truck as it drives away.
He screams so much.
Is amazing. That the movie is really really great. So yeah, Sally. Byron. What's your number five?
I have no honorable mentions.
Loser.
And being fuck off. Um, my number five. I do not know her last name. I have Erin from Your Next.
Carson. Aaron
This
Carson.
Carson. This is what I think to be possibly the most underrated final girl character of all time. Um, the, the she's so just like sweet and innocent at the start, and then by the end, fuck, she's incredible. And one of my favorite horror performances that I've recently seen. I've watched UNX twice now. Um, the first time not too long ago. I think it was still this year. But I think she's incredible. Ash, what's your number four?
My number four is Aaron.
Nice.
Same one. I'm sure it'll go up over time, but I've only seen that movie I think two times now. Just such a badass, such a great little 90-minute horror film, and yeah, she goes through hell with that family.
That's a great one. My number four is Susie Banyan, I believe it's pronounced, from Suspiria. That movie is the first watch this year, and it like I'm obsessed with it. I fucking love Suspiria. It's almost my top 10 horror of all time. I think it's goddamn spectacular. I would go Suspiria.
Nice.
You should watch the remake of
Oh, yeah,
Suspiria.
it's very much on my watch
I
list.
want to.
Yeah,
I gave it a 4.5 as well.
we could do it
just as the original.
We could do an
So
episode
good, bro.
on both if you like.
Yeah.
My number four is Grace from Ready or Not.
Ready or not? Yep, nice one.
Samara Weaving. Currently my favorite actress. This is my favorite role of hers. This movie is unbelievable. I have it rated at a 4.5 out of 5, and a lot of that is thanks to her performance. I mean, the situation and just concept of this movie is is fucking awesome. I'll never get bored watching it, and it's brutal, it's funny, it's actually like kind of scary at some point when you think about like what's actually happening. And I just think it's done in such a unique way that it just works like really, really well.
I remember when the Scream 5 was coming out, and I was like, fuck, they're making another one. This is going to be shit. And then they're like, oh, it's the same directors as Ready or Not. I'm like, oh, we're
Ready or
good.
not,
We're solid. We're sorted then. We're
yeah,
totally sorted then. Yeah.
it's a winning movie right there, second best of the franchise.
Yeah.
All
Ash,
right.
podium finish.
Number
Number
three, right?
three,
Okay. Number three for me is it's probably just strictly biased, but it's Nancy Thompson.
Oh, I thought that'd be
I love
higher.
Nightmare on Elm Street. No, I mean she's definitely not my favorite final girl. She's really good. I really like her.
agreed.
She probably shouldn't even be this high up, but again, it's a bias I have for this movie. I think she would normally probably be like 4 or 5, but she goes through a lot, and Freddie is just he's a nightmare, literally. So I think she deserves to be higher just for having to deal with his ass for 2 movies.
Mm.
I like
Harry,
that. My number three is Laurie Strode. I think she's a badass. I think everything from the first film down into like even the remake. I just feel like for me, Jamie Lee needs to be mentioned because she is the original Scream Queen. I fucking love Jamie Lee Curtis so much. Fun little side story because I remember I went to the premiere for the 2019 remake of Halloween, and she was there and she was doing like a Q&A
yeah,
beforehand. Um, got her to sign my copy of not Freaky Friday, Christmas of the Cranks. I saw you reviewed that
Nice.
yesterday, and I was like, I got a copy of Christmas of the Cranks. Can I get this signed?
So jealous.
And she's like, oh, I've never been asked that before. Yeah, but she said she adores this role. It's her favorite role to ever play, but she'll never do another one ever again. And she got
good.
paid a lot of money, and did 2 sequels. So she very much lied to everyone that night. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
But Laurie Strode, I think, as a character is great. And her evolution into her whole life being obsessed about Michael Myers, very understandable. And then being basically training to kind of go beyond that final goal, I think is awesome.
yeah.
What's your number three, Byron?
It's Nancy Thompson.
Nice.
She belongs on this list. Like all she faces Freddy fucking Krueger. Like that's enough to get you on any list. Um, one of probably the scariest horror villain I can think of right now. But also probably the funniest. I think Nancy is one of the more intelligent final girl characters we've seen. Um, and although she's not quite at the level of the all-time greats, I think she definitely belongs in a top 5.
Hell yeah.
Number
Yeah.
two, number
Number
2.
2.
I'm curious because I'm really confused.
So I rewatched Ready or Not this
Oh,
last
fuck.
season, and Grace definitely jumped up to number 2 for me. I just think that she is one of the best final girls we've ever gotten. Like she's funny, it's well acted, she's a badass, she takes care of herself throughout the whole movie and deals with this psychotic fucking family. She screams like a scream queen, she fucking kills like a scream queen. I mean, the way she just sits at the end of the movie on the staircase, there's just nothing bad to say about her. She's just fucking been through it all. So yeah, number 2.
Oh,
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Byron.
I can't wait for you to watch Mayhem with her
Oh
and
yeah, I
Stephen
need to
Yeun.
do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a ride. Number 2, Harry.
All right. I'm just going to be completely honest, I originally was including Alien. And this is where she would be. This is where Ellen would sit, all right? But I got to mention Grace. I got to mention Grace.
You
Yeah.
forgot about Grace?
No. I had on my list, I had Grace slash
Oh,
Ellen,
thank
and I
God.
was just like going to do a game time decision if I was going to include it or not.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Jesus Christ.
No. Grace is Ready or Not. It's one of the best modern horrors. Grace is unbelievable. I echo everything that you guys have said. She's a badass. She's also just so fucking lovable. Like she's just so sweet and innocent, but she's also like that whole like there's so many good one-liners from her that's so good. But yeah, she's a badass. I fucking love Grace. Byron.
Yeah. Nice. My number 2, and with this, really only I'm sure you can guess who the number 1 is. My number 2 is Laurie Strode.
Is all our number 1 the same? That'd be so sick.
Probably.
If all our number 1
It
the
is.
same.
Dude, who else? We'll do it. We'll do a countdown on number 1 actually. And if someone doesn't have this, the person, then I will be blocking you. But my number 2 is Laurie Strode, the most iconic final girl of all time. I mean, icon status alone gets her number 2.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Laurie Strode.
It's a screenplay.
You guys are making me feel really bad for not putting her on my list. I mean, I would probably replace her with Ellen Ripley because I don't think that's like a true final girl. But
you'll look back if you watch this episode back. As soon as you're like honorable mentions, Laurie Strode, I was just like,
I saw your face. The more I rewatch the Halloween movies, like I love her and I love Jamie Lee Curtis. It's just she's not as interesting to me as some of these other ones. That's
I get it. I understand it. I mainly put her on the list because of Jamie Lee. I was like, Jamie Lee needs. Yeah, I was like, Jamie Lee needs mention.
All right, I'm gonna count down from 3, 2, and then 1, and then I will say go on go. Say the name. Say the name.
Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sydney.
Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Oh, sorry, wrong list. Sydney. Sorry, wrong list.
Number
wrong
1.
list.
I expect this from you two. You should have expected this from me. Like, even though I don't hold Scream the movie as high as you guys do, Sydney Prescott is without a doubt the greatest final girl character that's ever touched a movie. The first 5 movies, like she was. I mean, maybe you can take out the 5th if you really want, because she doesn't really play that much of a big part in it. But the first 4 movies, unbelievable. The first movie is legendary type shit. I think she just fits these movies perfectly, man. And I appreciate that she's not a complete tool, like a lot of these kinds of characters are in a lot of movies. Cool.
Oh.
Dumbass.
You can try. I understood.
But yeah, people in slasher movies especially are just fucking idiots. So thankfully, Sydney learns from these movies. 100% greatest final girl ever.
Amen.
Yeah. If you're listening, Nev Campbell, we love you.
Yeah. And don't go to
Please
Scream 7.
Don't go to Scream 7.
Don't do it.
Bang.
Don't do it. They said no to your paycheck that you totally deserved. Like,
yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, Scream 6 worked without it, but you know.
But the people saying that Scream 6 is better than.
Don't come back. There
was people saying Scream 6 was better than Scream 1, and it's like it's
absolute
fucking
not.
Scream 5 is better than Scream 6.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Agreed.
Wholeheartedly. Remember how they're like, it's all in New York, and then they didn't use New York? Remember that?
Yeah, it was pretty. The subway scene was fucking
Very
great.
so solid.
Yeah,
remember that?
Like,
yeah. Subway scene. Guess what they have in every town, Byron? Trains. Every town. Fuck that movie.
There's so many like staple New York City locations they could have used that they didn't.
They should. I said this in my review. They should have had the final showdown on like the top of Empire State. Just make it. Just use this fucking location. Just use it.
I know on rewatch that one's gonna go down probably to a 3.5 for me, or even lower, and I'm kind of sad about it because I know it's gonna go down. But for now, I'm just gonna pretend and just leave it where it is.
Ghostface with the shotgun though. Ghostface with the shotgun's pretty damn cool.
Yeah,
I caught me off guard in the trailer.